Oh, what a great game.
That is a fun game.
It's so much fun.
It is fun. One of my cars got ruined though. We were playing a few weeks ago. And I spilled beer on them. So a couple of them got a little wet.
Like sticky?
I don't know. I haven't played since then, so I don't know how
Dude, they definitely stuck together.
Yeah, that is funny. I got the 10-1 game set for Christmas.
What are the 10 games?
Half of them I didn't recognize. Chess, checkers, Chinese checkers,
Backgammon?
backgammon,
Popular one.
tic-tac-toe.
Mancala?
Mancala's on there.
Okay.
A thing called Mill, which we tried and I think we played it wrong.
That just sounds like an old person game. You want to play Mel Beverly? Go get Herbert and Edgar. We'll make it a couples night.
Mill. There's another one, and then I forget the other one.
So a lot of like classic ones.
Yeah, a few classic ones. But when I was looking at it, I was like, I don't recognize some of these.
Yeah.
So it's fine. I'm just trying to work our way through it.
Mm-hmm. I love games.
Yeah, that's true. I do. Especially nowadays, we can't go anywhere.
Dude, me and Kirsten have been playing so many games.
Yeah, we've been doing the same.
It's been fun. It's nice.
Yeah. We're back. SportsSqwad. It is me, Tim, in case you forgot after a year. And it is also Anchovio.
He's here.
He's also here.
I don't know why this did that third person thing. I'm not gonna rock. Who am I?
We are back with SportsSqwad after about a year without SportsSqwad.
Mm-hmm.
We had some other. I don't know what to say. Our studio was messed up. We had to clean out the studio.
And also, for a while, there were no sports.
There were no sports.
There were sports during work hours while we were working.
Yeah.
So.
No, I think that was the other one we did. I don't know if I uploaded it. We did do another one over Zoom with Ryan and Kelvin.
Yeah.
We talked about how we are going to bring sports back.
Yeah.
If that one actually got uploaded or not. There might have been a fault. I think we tried to do it a second time and something. I don't know.
I don't know what it was, but let's just blame Audacity.
Yeah.
Because they're always the source.
We got to blame a sorry. And, for the loyal listener that came back to join us, you know that reference. Alright, so we are back. We're doing SportsSqwad. We have a slightly different layout. We're still doing the grievances. We cannot lose the grievances. That'll be here forever. We are doing the NFL playoff picture. We're going to predict the brackets of the NFL, every game into the Super Bowl. And then we are, instead of our random endings that are supposed to be fan-answered questions, but that never happens, we are going to introduce a segment called, Well, That Was Weird. And we will explain that when we get to that, but that'll be at the end. So let's start off with our grievances. Do you want to go first?
Sure.
Okay, go ahead.
First.
Yeah.
Giants fans, you know who you are.
Football Giants?
From the New York Football Giants, not the San Francisco Baseball Giants, not the Little Giants, but the New York Football Giants, the G-men as they were. For those who don't know, somehow, listen to a sports podcast. The Giants fans are mad because the Eagles intentionally tanked their last game, therefore keeping the Giants out of the playoffs, leading the Washington football team to take the NFC East.
At 7-9.
At 7-9. Everybody knows that, this is the pros. If you're already having a shitty season, you're at the end of your rope, you can't go anywhere. A lot of teams are tanking. The Jets and Jacksonville has been doing it all season long.
Even the Jets failed at doing that, though.
And the Jets outjetted themselves. I feel so bad. Do you know how... I feel so bad for it. Like, they outjetted themselves. That's crazy. And then... I lost my train of thought for a second. Oh, no. I'm back. The Giants sitting at 6-10. You can't be mad that another team tanked. Also, where was this outcry when the Steelers sat their starters? Oh, there wasn't. Because it's what you do in the NFL. So, yes, your team kept out of the playoffs, but your team was 6-10. Like, it'd be one thing if it was like 10-6, 11-5, and you miss it because of a tank. You have more of a leg to stand on. But your team won 6 games. 6 out of 16. If you want to make the playoffs, win more games. Like, you cannot be mad because your shitty team. And also, the past few seasons have a very similar record to the New York Jets, by the way. Around 5-11, 6-10, somewhere around there. At this point, you're one of the worst franchises as of late. Gone are the days of Tom Coughlin, Eli Manning, Michael Strahan. Like, you guys are not good. You suck. Don't get mad because another team kept you out. Win more games. Giants fans, have a fucking brain. Your team sucks.
Yes. I saw a funny tweet. It was when the Eagles played the Giants. It was a Thursday night game. And who's their tight end? Not Eron. Engram?
Evan Ingram, yeah.
Evan Ingram, yeah. I would, Eric Ebron, Evan Ingram. He needed to catch. It was like 3rd and 10, I think. He had the ball. He had a step ahead of the defender. Right, the ball was slightly overthrown, but it also hit his hands, and he dropped it. Mm-hmm. That would have been the game. He drops it. Giants punt. Eagles score. Eagles take the game. That tweet that somebody screenshot that, and they're like, if Engram catches that pass, you are division champs. Like, you can't blame anybody else. You need to control your own destiny. That's the only thing to it.
That's the only surefire way. Win games in your division.
Yeah, I don't.
Your whole division was a shit show, and you still lost a lot of games. Like, what are you talking about?
At least 5 because the Eagles beat them once. I don't know how they did out in the division or outside the division, but yeah, he won 6 games. Like, you can't be mad. And Joe Judge was calling out the Eagles. Somebody else, Sal Palantonio, wants an investigation on the Eagles. Yep. Like, no, oh my god. Okay, yes, that got me frustrated too.
No, I was like, you guys are the worst. I hate you.
Yeah. Yep. New York fans. Yeah. So that is definitely I agree with that grievance. I'm with it. My grievance is the college football playoff system. Mm-hmm. So one, it needs to be expanded. I don't know how it hasn't been expanded. You have 5 power conferences, and you're only letting 4 teams in. So automatically, there's going to be controversy every year. This year, especially, right? So out of the 4 teams that made it, Alabama should have made it. Undefeated SEC champs. They played, I think, almost every game, if not every game. Mm-hmm. Okay. I personally think Ohio State should have made it, even though they only played 6 games, because this is before their dominant win over Clemson. I think they were just that dominant of a team. So I think even with 6 games, they should have gotten in. They won the Big Ten. They just looked like a fantastic team. Clemson, they didn't play the best schedule, but they did win the ACC. Right, so you gotta give them that. They did win. They were missing their starting quarterback for 2 games. They still only had 1 loss, and they won the conference championship. Notre Dame beat Clemson in the regular season with their back, Trevor Lawrence was out. Mm-hmm. So it took them 2 overtimes to beat them, and then when they did play Trevor Lawrence, they got blown out of the water. So they have 1 loss, and they're not a conference champ. They still got in. So that's grievance number 1. Cincinnati should have gotten in because they're an undefeated conference champ. I think they ended up being ranked 6, right? Texas A&M had a legit grievance because their only loss was to Alabama, and they won every game since that loss. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. All right, so they both had legitimate reasons. If Florida would have won the SEC, then maybe you put Florida in instead of Notre Dame, and you keep Alabama in, but that's a whole other thing. Right, so you have 3 other teams who have a better cred than Notre Dame. Also, how do you only have 4 teams? How do you not have at least 6? Preferably 8. I think 12's too many. But we did a whole podcast about this. We might do another one about how to fix college football. You have 5 power conferences. That's 5 winners right there. You win your conference, you're in. Like every other sport, including the FCS and Division II football and D3 football. Every other, it's only Division I college football that doesn't know how to do this. So you put in a wild card. In this case, it probably would have been Cincinnati, undefeated conference champs, G5 team. Or you do 8 teams, and you have 3 wild card spots. That way Cincinnati definitely gets in. Right? And, okay, Oregon won the Pac-12 in a very iffy year where they didn't even win their division, but other teams didn't play enough games. That's one fluke year. Hopefully this doesn't happen again anytime soon. But okay, you let Oregon win in, and then maybe you let another Pac-12 team in because they're like, technically you could have been there. We think you're the better team, and maybe you let another G5 team in. Like, I don't understand why they're so resistant and so that, and like, the one argument is, oh, they're playing too many games if they play 2 extra games. If you add 2 extra games to the schedule, they're still only playing like 14 games.
It's not that many.
Like, yeah, or do 6 teams, give the first 2 a bye. And do what the NFL does, give 2 a bye. It just, and if you do 8 teams, we had conference championship weekend in the middle of December this year. It was 2 weeks late already. How do you not? There's so many easy solutions to fix college football, and also how do you have? I don't know. I just don't understand how there's a panel of 12 or 13 people that say we want these 4 teams in. How do you not say this is what you do to get in? And Washington won the division at 7-9. They still won the division. If you win your conference, you should get in. But yeah, that's my grievance.
Yes. No, and especially because there are just so many football teams.
Yeah.
And there was that one year when UCF went undefeated.
Yeah.
They should have been in, and they just weren't because they're not a powerhouse usual football team.
Blue blood Power 5 team.
Yeah, but they went undefeated.
Yeah.
And they were so good and they just didn't get in.
And you never know. Some people were saying they won't win if they do go in. Boise State beat Oklahoma. I'm pretty sure TCU beat somebody too in the Rose Bowl 1 year. How do you not? I mean, TCU's Big 12, but they're not typical blue blood program.
The Horned Frogs, no.
Give the chance for an upset.
It is very easy to expand it.
Yeah, it's so easy.
That many teams.
If you expand it to 8 teams, and you do 1 year, and you do put, in this case, Cincinnati, or a few years ago, UCF in, and they get blown out, then next year, you can do that. You could be okay, you know what? We saw what happened last year, we're not going to do it again. But you need to give them the chance to do that.
I mean, it just comes down to money.
I mean, it'll.
I mean, because every year, Alabama, Ohio State, and Clemson, they're almost every year those 3 have been in the Final Four.
Yeah,
Clemson
and Alabama have been in 6 out of 7 years.
Yep.
Ohio State's been in 4 out of 6 years.
They just want to see.
I think they said a total of 13 teams. This is the 7th year, and a total of 13 teams
which
have
is
made it.
Completely out of the possible. It's that 28.
Yeah.
It's been 13. That's
only 13. Yeah. I'm not saying it's going to be 28 different teams in 4 years.
No, yeah,
it'd be probably 20,
Alabama
24 different teams.
And Clemson have been that good. Ohio State usually has been that good. Okay, but like you said, Notre Dame should not be.
Yeah, but I think 1 year is 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Alabama got in with 2 losses. They didn't even make the conference championship.
Yeah, and there were undefeated teams with 1 loss.
Yeah,
it just as hard of a schedule, and they didn't get in. Yeah. But the Alabama though
gotta put Nick Saban.
Gotta have Saban.
Gotta put a 2-loss Bama in. I think they lost to A&M and Auburn that year.
Yeah.
Or LSU and Auburn that year. Which is why I like last year. LSU dominated. Yeah, they fell off a cliff this year, but it was nice to see a different team in the playoff. I would love for Florida to get in. Okay, maybe they lose to Alabama in the SEC championship. SEC is still good, and if that's your 1 loss,
they just gotta bring back Tim Tebow.
Right? Hey, Kyle Trask had a great season this
or
year.
Aaron Hernandez.
Well, that's gonna be hard to bring him back.
I had a brain fart. Yes. Oopsies. Redacted.
All right, now that we're calmed down a little bit of our grievances, we are going to do the AFC first because that's the first one.
Buddy, it's gonna be tough.
It is gonna be tough, but that's the glory of it. All right, so Chiefs have the bye in the AFC. You have first game, Titans Ravens, and I'm going off of the bracket I randomly pulled up. I didn't mean to pull that game up first, but Titans Ravens.
Yes.
I mean it's close. I don't think Harbaugh is that bad of a coach to lose to the same team 3 times in basically a calendar year, but Derrick Henry, 2,000 yards. He's just a beast. If you can find a way to contain him. Tannehill had a pretty good year that nobody talks about because Derrick Henry had such a good year. But yes. I think if you contain Derrick Henry and prevent that play action and you prevent him from gaining 6-7 yards every play, I think you could, but So I think the Ravens will win, but I think it'll be close. Mm-hmm. I think it'll be like a Justin Tucker field goal as time expires, or I think they have like a 4th down stop or something. But I do think the Ravens sneak it out only because I don't think you lose to Harbaugh 3 times this frequently. Because I think it will be in the span of like 12 months, 13 months that they played the Titans.
Yep.
And they lost 2 in a row. I just don't see Harbaugh not making the proper adjustments.
As a Ravens fan, I'm actually looking at this from a very real perspective. Like you said, there's the fact that it's hard to lose to any team 3 in a row, let alone in the same year, calendar year. Yes, we had a hard time containing Henry, but even our last game, we held him to under 100 in regulation. After, in overtime, that's when he broke that run and passed 100 yards. But, like, before that, we held him. And that was without our 2 best run stuffers in Brandon Williams and a steal in Calais Campbell. So, like, those 2 have been the biggest part of stopping the run for us all year, and they were out. And we still held him to under 100 in regulation. In OT, that was our blown coverage, yes. What makes me positive about the Ravens is that over the past 5 games, we have just been on a tear. We're getting people back who were injured. They're healthy. Pat Ricard has been a super nice fill-in for our tight end Nick Boyle, who had a devastating leg injury. And Pat Ricard's a big boy, so if he's in front, he's blocking. J.K. Dobbins is coming into his own. Lamar is looking like he was last season. We are playing some great football right now, and I think it's going to be tough to beat. And then on the flip side of the ball, both teams don't have a good rushing defense. So, and then the Titans are ranked like 29th against the pass. So, like, while our bread and butter is the run game, and I think it will come down to that, you also have to exploit a terrible pass defense. So I think, and I don't know. I think we win by 2 scores. Like, maybe like 10 or 11.
All right.
I don't know.
I do think that the Ravens have turned it on the past few weeks. I'm very mad at myself because I was a J.K. Dobbins start away from winning fantasy this year.
Oh, no.
I started in the second round of the playoffs. I started Mike Davis over J.K. Dobbins. Mike Davis was actually having a pretty good year, so it wasn't like a fluke year. But I was like, Dobbins, sometimes he hits a touchdown, sometimes he doesn't. Davis has scored like 3 in a row. Mm-hmm. And of course, that's week he rushes for 80 yards and no touchdowns. And Dobbins went off for like 15 points. Mm-hmm. So I lost by 6 points. And then the following week, I had Kamara on my team. He went off. He had that 6 touchdown game. So then I was like, well, if I don't score more than the 2 championship teams, then whatever, so be it. I scored more than both championship teams. The one shit the bed. She only scored like 65 points. The other scored like 110, and I had like 150. And I was like, man, if I started J.K. Dobbins 2 weeks ago, I would have won.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's me. Yeah, I think they do. Their rushing attack, they had 3 1,000-yard rushers. Or 3 500-yard rushers?
We had 3 600-yard rushers with 6 touchdowns.
Yeah.
But, like, Lamar passed 1,000. Dobbins hasn't been our starter all year, but he still racked up, I think, 700.
He basically became the starter once Ingram went down.
Yeah.
Like, it was him and Edwards, but I felt like every time I turned on TV, it was Dobbins. Like, yeah. So, yeah. Okay, so we're both in agreement.
Right.
Ravens.
But if we can contain, like, A.J. Brown...
Mm-hmm.
I mean, also, if we can just tackle. Like, we had a 2-score lead last game. We just stopped tackling. And, like, on paper, it looks like a close game. I just have a feeling that, like, we're going to come out hot and just blow the doors off the game and maintain our lead.
That's what they need to do. Lamar, as good as he is, does have trouble when he's down more than 2 scores because he feels like he needs to throw the 80-yard pass to get back in the game. So if you come out and throw that 80-yard pass to start off and you stay hot, then you do give yourself a chance.
And it'll also come down to if our OC and Greg Roman is a shithead or not. Run the damn ball. Because I promise you, he will see, they have the 29th ranked pass. we put up 400-something yards rushing. Oh, no. And they have a bad run defense? No, we're going to air it out. No! I have a feeling but I don't know. I just have a good feeling.
All right, so we both have the Ravens, who next round will be playing the Chiefs. But on to the next matchup. Next matchup, Steelers, Browns. Browns at Steelers. I think Steelers were not good. They were bragging when they were 9-0, 10-0, 11-0. They finished the season 12-4, which is not good when you started 11-0. You should have finished 13-3, 14-2.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you're 11-0. You lose 3 of your last 4, and I know there was COVID issues. There was this and that, and Roethlisberger was hit. You rested your starters for that last loss. Whatever. You still finish 1-2 if you don't count resting your starters. Right? So now everybody's like, oh, well, we're gonna get our starters back. Is that a good thing though? Because Roethlisberger isn't as mobile as he was. Right? You do have decent receivers, right? But they have been dropping a lot. The only thing is with the Browns, they did catch a lot of momentum. They are a lot better than people realize this year. I think they exceeded their own expectations. They don't have their head coach because of COVID.
A lot, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if he's coaching remotely. I don't know if he's coaching in a private press box that's quarantined. I don't know how he's doing it. I don't know if he's calling in, but he won't be on the field. Their offensive coordinators are going to be calling the plays. And I think that will really... It's Baker Mayfield's first playoff start. He's still fairly young. Right? And I know the excitement and the close win, that kind of gets to you the following week. Mm-hmm. You know, look at 2017, Minnesota had the Minnesota Miracle, and then they got blown out by the Eagles in the following game. You know, there is a mindset of getting a little too hot-headed. So I do think the Steelers eke it out. I don't think they'll be as dominant as they were in years past, but I do think they beat the Browns, I'm going to say by a touchdown.
Okay. I am torn down the middle of this game for all the reasons that you said. And even then, even when the Steelers were at 11-0, they didn't look like an 11-0 team. Every game, I was like, okay, there are still X many teams that would beat you in the playoffs. So, like, I never saw them at, like, this unstoppable fourth. I was like, you're 11-0, cool.
They played the NFC East.
The Chiefs, and also, they didn't have any impressive wins in that stretch, including us. Like, we were not playing good football.
Yeah.
And then our second game, they won by 5 points. And that was when we had no starters in.
That was the COVID.
So, like, they won it by 5 points.
Yeah.
Against second and third stringers.
Against RG3.
Against RG3.
And again, I think Dobbins was out that game, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our running, like, Gus Edwards was our starting back.
Yeah.
And, like...
Dobbins and Ingram were both out.
Yep.
Jackson was out, and you only won by 5 points.
Mark Andrews was out. Like, most were off. And, like, they never looked that dominant. They have injuries on their defensive end. They cannot run the ball. I don't know what happened, but James Carter has just been shit in the bed.
I know.
They cannot run.
They don't trust the run game either.
No,
it's not.
They don't stick with the run, even though it's no game at all.
Yeah.
Ben is not as mobile / can't throw the ball downfield. They have a lot of drop passes, the most drops in the entire league. They have T.J. Watt. That boy's a beast.
He's dominant.
He's a problem, but. And then the Browns, I forget what team they were facing, but it was when they ran for 200. Baker had like 5 TDs, no picks. Was that the Titans? Yes, they manhandled the Titans. If that team shows up, the Steelers are in trouble. Yeah. But then they also abandoned the run game a couple weeks ago with Nick Chubb. I'm just like, what are you doing? Like he's a top 5 back.
You have Kareem Hunt as your
and Kareem Hunt, and they were. I'm like, dude, stick with the run it down their throats, and they were passing.
Yeah.
Their head coach being out is a really, really going to be tough. I'm going to go Browns by like 2, 3.
They win because of a safety.
Because I just think the Steelers have not been that good as on paper as they showed this season. But they have the experience too.
Yeah.
Like Ben has the experience.
Yeah. They know how to stay calm. They know how to win. Tomlin knows how to win.
If I'm going with my head, I'm going to go Steelers by a score. But go with my heart, I'm going to go with the Brown. Okay, I got to pick one. Fuck it. Browns by like 3.
Okay, so first one we differ on. I'd say the Steelers. He says the Browns. All right, next matchup. Bills at Colts.
Bills.
Yeah. I mean, the Colts are 11-5.
Yes, and
their defense is pretty good.
That is nothing. That's no shade to Indianapolis. They've been a sneaky good team this year.
Nobody's talked about them,
but like they've been good and like they've beat good teams.
They were a win, and the Titans lost away from the division.
Yep.
And I don't think anybody realized that until week 17 when they were doing all the playoff pictures. Besides fans in Indianapolis,
and
you didn't realize how good they were.
Yeah, and Phil and T.Y. Hilton are finally clicking. They're dirty. Jonathan Taylor can still pound the ball. But, like, the Bills have just been on a different planet this season.
They've dominated their division. They dominated outside the division.
Josh Allen
They're 13-3.
Josh Allen has played up to his potential, I think.
Yeah, he finally reached. He rushes a lot more than people realize.
He can get out the pocket. He's just as mobile as Lamar or Patrick Mahomes. And he has the perfect complement in Stephon Diggs. Like, Stephon Diggs...
He led the league in receptions this year. Like, if you had Diggs on your fantasy team, unless you didn't have anybody else, you probably won.
Yep.
Especially in PPR. Okay. I mean, if you had Kamara, you also probably won. But so, Diggs led the league in receptions. Right? He was high in touchdowns too, because he had like 2 or 3 touchdowns. Their defense, I had them in fantasy for defense. Their defense got like 10 to 15 points a game.
Gets turnovers.
Yeah.
And then not only that, like the offense can then turn those turnovers into points, which is what you need to happen.
Yeah.
And they just consistently do it.
So, Bills over Colts.
Yeah.
Bills over Colts. Okay, so moving on to the divisional round. We got past Super Bowl card weekend on the AFC side. Divisional round, Chiefs. We both have Ravens.
Chiefs.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as I love my team, and I do think that out of 100 games, the way we're playing right now, I do believe that we would win maybe 20 or 25 of them. Mm-hmm. I mean, the Chiefs just find a way to win.
And they move the ball so fast.
Like, even that game where they were struggling against Atlanta for no reason at all, it came down to the past 3 minutes, and Powell was like, y'all had your fun, I'm just get the ball down the field in a minute and a half.
And then there was that Monday night game, I think it was. I forget who they were playing. I want to say if they played the Steelers this year, it might have been against the Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
Might have been someone else. I don't think it was the Steelers, but I think
they played the Steelers in
I could be wrong. We do our research here. Right? I remember they were down. No, they were up by 4. And they were like, well, if they get held, the other team gets the ball and, that touchdown, wins it. They had 2 minutes and they scored in 30 seconds. They literally threw like 4 passes. And what they do is they throw over the middle because everybody expects them to go out of bounds.
Yep.
They throw over the middle. They run for 10, 15 yards. 3 passes later, you're in the red zone. And then you have Kelsey and you have the Tyreek Hill.
Who just can outrun everybody.
And you have Mahomes. Like, you can't double team both of them. And you have Mahomes, and you can't spy Mahomes. You can't do all of that at once. And Andy Reid knows that, and Mahomes knows that. Like,
and then it's like, let's say Mahomes is having an off game. Yeah. That's happened. The running game steps up. They run it down. You get the run game is bad. Mahomes is okay. The defense forces 3 turnovers, and they score off that. Like, they just find different ways to win.
Yeah.
So, and like, our first game against them, it was very close. But Lamar had that fumble. Okay, whatever. Yeah. I think we could, but right now, the Chiefs are at that patch level of years past, whereas until I see it happen, I'm not going to root against them. They're just at that level, and it's so frustrating because
they were what, 15-1 this year?
They were 15-1.
Yeah, I don't think they went 14-2. I think they went 15-1.
No, yeah, it was 15-1. Oh wait, no.
Did they lose? Did they?
They lost to San Diego because they rested their starters, and San Diego blew them out. But
they did. Okay.
Whatever though.
Yeah, you rested your starters.
They still went
the second team.
14-2.
Yeah, 14-2. And even in the Super Bowl last year, as soon as they got momentum going, they just took it. So
the only hope is if somebody gets hurt.
Yeah.
That's it. Or if
they send 6 every play and just pressure Mahomes.
Which is what Wink Martindale loves doing, but he can still get outside the pocket.
Yeah.
That leaves 5 back.
You rush 5, have a spy, but then you only have 5 back, and you have Hill and Kelsey.
Yep.
Kelsey's going to run a curl, and Hill's going to just outrun the defense.
Yep.
And you have
and Sammy Watkins can sneakily have a 100-yard game out of nowhere too.
Yeah.
They have.
Yeah.
It's fine.
So, Chiefs over Ravens, we both have that. We have the Chiefs going to the conference championship to face the winner of our next prediction, which we differ on. I have the Steelers, you have the Browns.
Mm-hmm.
We both have the Bills. I'm going to say the Bills over the Steelers.
Bills are going to beat whichever team comes out on top.
So we differ on that, on who the Bills are playing, but we both have the Bills advancing.
Yes.
I think for the same reasons. Their defense is tough. Josh Allen's playing tough. You have a great coach in McDermott. McDermott just looks like an NFL coach.
He does. He has the look to him.
Sometimes you like a coach who's like, you don't really look like you look like a guy who's there for 1 or 2 years. And then you have guys like McDermott who looks confident. He looks focused. He looks like he knows what he's doing.
And he does.
Yeah.
He's balling.
Yeah. So we both have Bills, Chiefs in the AFC Championship. This will be the Chiefs' toughest test. They are defending champs, so you got to beat them before it's hard to give them. I think it'll be close. I think the Bills' defense does contain the Chiefs a little bit, but I do think they went on a last-minute drive. They win by 4. They're down by a field goal. They go for the win instead of the field goal, and they win. I think that's what's going to happen with the Chiefs.
I agree, because it's that same thing. Until they lose, I'm not going to bet against them.
Yeah, until which I don't know if I would put money on that. The Bills could win. I don't have all my chips on them, but I have 75%.
The Chiefs, they're good, but I think the Bills or the Ravens could do it, but I don't think that they will. Could, but won't.
Yeah.
Bills.
So
AFC Championship.
Yeah.
Lose.
Chiefs in the AFC game. Sorry, I'm texting our producers right now.
Yep.
I can edit this out. I can fix this in post. As they say. All right, NFC.
NFC, baby.
Okay. So we both have the Chiefs represent the AFC for a second year in a row. They're going to the Super Bowl 2 years in a row.
Yep.
First game, 4 versus 5. Washington at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay?
Yeah. I am going Tampa Bay.
Is this a question?
Yeah. I don't think... to be fair, 7-9 Seahawks, 7-8-1 Panthers both won their first playoff game when they won the division.
No, I have a question, Tim. Who was the quarterback on that Seahawks team?
Russell Wilson. No. Was Russell Wilson?
I thought it was Hasselbeck.
It was Matt Hasselbeck. But they had Marshawn Lynch.
With Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah.
And who was the QB of that Panthers team?
That was Cam Newton. Not MVP Cam Newton, but it was Cam Newton.
Who was making his way there?
Yeah.
And who was the quarterback for the Washington football team?
50% of Alex Smith.
Okay!
I wasn't going to pick Washington, not just because my hatred for them as an Eagles fan. I am saying that I don't think it'll be a blowout, but I do think Tampa Bay wins by at least 10. Because Tom Brady in the playoffs. Mike Evans is hurt. Gronk has been iffy this year.
You still have Antonio Brown.
You still have Antonio Brown.
And Chris Godwin.
Yeah. Where did Chris Godwin come from? And Jones. Well, where did he come from? I think he's a rookie. That's where he came from. But
then, in a pinch, Fournette has had some solid games.
Yeah.
So, and again, you have Tom Brady, 40 years old, threw for 40 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So, was Bill the catalyst? Yeah, but Tom Brady's still Tom Brady.
Oh, yes. So...
Him and Arians are finally on the same page.
Quite curious how Chase Young goes, because he's been trash talking all week. He really wants to get in that. And Chase Young is a beast.
Chief, He's scary.
So I am very curious how they hold him back, if they double team him or if they let someone else go. But him and Sweat on the same line, Montez Sweat. Again, you can't double team both of them.
You can't.
Because then you leave the inside open. I do think their defense, Chase Young might lead the team a little bit, but you have half of Alex Smith, which is a fantastic story.
Comeback player of the year.
If I had no idea about NFL, but I knew about Alex Smith and Ron Rivera, I would be cheering for them just for the story itself. Unfortunately, the story doesn't get very far when you're 7-9, and Alex Smith was your backup quarterback coming in. Not that he's not a starting caliber quarterback, but it is what it is. He came in as the backup. He had to come in for Haskins. Then it was a whole back and forth. I just don't trust them to win.
Antonio Gibson is a good, really, really good rookie, but he's not. Logan Thomas, great tight end.
Yeah.
But it's not enough.
Yeah, it's not enough. You have Bruce Arians coaching Tom Brady. So we both have Tampa Bay moving on. All right, next one. Ooh, this is an intriguing matchup. This might be probably one of the closer games of Super Wildcard Weekend. Seahawks, Rams. Rams at Seahawks.
Is Jared Goff playing?
That I do not know. I can do a quick Google.
I mean, it's such a toss-up. Because at multiple points in this season, both teams have looked unbeatable, and at the same time, both teams have looked like donkey shit.
Yeah. He is questionable.
Okay.
But apparently, according to reports, he is throwing the ball well. But he is listed as questionable for a game in 2 days. Wait, hold on. I don't know when their game is.
Should be.
It doesn't say on my thing. Let me go back.
Because what, AFC Saturday?
No, they have...
AFC Sunday.
They switch it up. There's 2 NFC and 1 AFC one. They don't do divisions by day.
I thought that's what I saw. Clearly I'm blind and I know nothing. Just call me Jon Snow.
Okay, let's see. I think I got one up right now. Okay. We have Rams at Seahawks. Saturday, 4:40. I think if Jared Goff was healthy and Cooper Kupp was healthy, I don't know about Cooper Kupp either because he was injured the last 2 games. They have a pretty good offense, but if they're injured and you're playing at Seattle, even without the crowd or a limited crowd, however Seattle, whatever they allow, you're still playing Russell Wilson, who can throw to anybody and have a good fate, but he's also throwing to Metcalf and Tyler Lockett.
Yep.
Right? I think the Rams, and I've been saying this a lot, Rams make it close. I don't think they get blown out. If Goff is playing, their backup wasn't that bad either. He was pretty mobile.
Yeah.
He was really fast when I was watching on Red Zone.
I was like...
I forget his name now.
I was like, okay, wow.
Yeah. So he, it could be one of those fluke things that happen that all of a sudden this backup quarterback wins a game in the playoffs against the Seahawks. I mean, Wilson, Seattle's whole offensive plan is let the pocket collapse and Wilson run wild, and they're playing flag football. They're playing 7-on-7 flag football. They are running anywhere they want. They have no pass routes. They just go, I'm going to run this way, follow where I'm going, and I will find you. That is their playbook.
Yep.
Right, so I do think Seattle wins, especially as a home team.
Yeah, as much as up and down on both teams has had, I'm still going with Seattle.
Yeah, I'm going with Seattle as well. Rams are just... I think McVay is on the verge of being figured out. He's a really good coach. He's a young, smart coach, and he was dominant last year. Well, this is his 4th year, right? So they lost.
Yes.
They didn't lose to the Eagles in the playoffs, but they did lose near the end of the regular season 3 years ago. They made it to the Super Bowl and got figured out. Bill Belichick figured them out. They ran zone when they were running man all year, so Goff didn't know what he was looking at. Last year, they didn't even make the playoffs. This year, they're the 6th seed.
Mm-hmm.
I just think, everybody does get figured out. And I'm not saying McVay is a bad coach. I just think his offense, after a few years, experienced coaches go, okay, this is what they're doing if they set up like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not. Same thing is happening to Doug Peterson. Same thing happened to the Wildcat. I just think it's fast.
Yeah. And I think it's that, and also, like, Goff is extremely inconsistent. Like one game he'll look like elite level, and then the next game he's looking like Jake Delhomme.
Like, hey, he started a Super Bowl.
Oh shit, he did.
He did. Yeah.
Hey, so did Goff.
Yeah, that's true.
So like, I think they are too inconsistent with their game.
Yeah.
Seahawks haven't, but they still tightened it up a little bit towards the end there. So I'm gonna go with Seattle.
Yeah, and I know it's a division
game,
and I know it's always closer with division games because that's just what it is. But I do think Seattle wins.
The division, actually, I didn't think about that, but I still think Seattle.
Yeah. Next game, if we differ on this, I'm ending SportsSqwad forever. Saints, Bears. Bears at Saints.
Bears.
Okay.
No, obviously the choice here is the Saints. Yeah. Although I would not be surprised that much if the Bears won. I think it'll be a blowout, but the Bears are gritty.
They are, but
they're gritty.
You have Kamara, you have Breeze, who wants to go on his final run because he's probably going to retire. He hasn't officially said it, but he's probably going to retire after this year.
There are sources saying.
Yeah, the sources are out there. They're still playing in the Superdome even with limited fans. I mean,
you're still again. Yeah. I think it'll be a blowout, but last week of the season, the Bears were going toe-to-toe with the red-hot Packers. And yes, that's the division game, but Aaron Rodgers is playing out of his mind right now.
Yeah.
And they were still keeping up with them. So I think it'll be a blowout, but there's like a 1% chance that shit goes down and the Bears win.
If this game was in Chicago, I might lean.
If it was in Chicago,
because Drew Brees is not good outside. He just is.
He is a dome quarterback.
He has one playoff win outside.
Yep.
I don't think he has two. He has one. It was against the Eagles. But he has one outside win because they play in the Dome and they usually have home field advantage. And if it was in Chicago in January, unless we have another double doink situation, I might lean towards the Bears. But this is in New Orleans. New Orleans is the 2 seed. They're 13-3. Kamara is in the MVP candidate. He's not going to get it, but he's in the MVP talks. I just don't see how the Bears pull it out.
There's no way.
So we all agreed on the NFC. So first, divisional round, the Packers at Bucks.
Packers.
Yeah. At Lambeau.
Yep.
And everyone's like, it's a cold weather and Tampa. Well, Brady's been playing in Boston.
Like, literally. Let's put some respect on his name.
Come on.
God, seeing Brady's
The only thing is, with the bye, Packers might lose a little momentum.
Mm-hmm.
Rodgers has had a career year, and he's up there. He's like 36,
37, I believe.
Yeah. So he's not that much younger than Brady. But, it's hard because they just throw Adams, and then when Adams isn't open, he just either runs.
He tries, what's his name, Funyon?
Tonyan.
I call him Funny because he's funny. You have him, you have the dude with the 2 last names.
Valdez, right?
Something.
Valdez-Scantling.
It doesn't matter. He will find somebody.
He will find someone who will run out of the pocket, he'll stay in the pocket, they'll run it with Aaron Jones.
And I think a big factor for them, because in the past, their defenses have not been good. They're top 10 in defenses this year. So, I think that, plus the way Aaron Rodgers is playing, Bucks.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be a blowout necessarily, but I think it'll be...
I think Tom Brady keeps it close enough. If it was a less experienced quarterback, then I'd be like, yeah.
But
I do think it's just... It'll probably be like a touchdown,
mm-hmm.
and it might be one of those situations where the score makes it a little closer than it is, like Tampa Bay scores.
At the end and lose by 7, but I think they handily win this game.
Yeah.
And also, at times, the Bucks have looked really bad, too.
They have.
So it depends upon, which Bucks team shows up.
And what I just realized is the Bucks did beat the Packers early in the year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the 1 week Aaron Rodgers looked human with 2 or 3 interceptions.
Yep.
You don't think Rodgers is thinking they're coming into my house? They're coming into Lambeau in January, and they embarrassed us in the year?
A press release. It'll be guys, relax.
Yeah. So, I do think the Packers win. the divisional. We both had the Seahawks, right?
Yes.
So Seahawks, Saints.
I'm going Saints.
I'm going Saints, but that'll be less than 5 points.
That's gonna be close.
I do. I mean, you can't throw out Russell Wilson that easily,
Ever.
right? And I mean, the Saints at home in the dome, they're almost undefeated, almost unbeatable. I said undefeatable. That's not a word. I mean, not to brag, but Jalen Hurts beat the Saints in the Superdome. So like,
true. Very true.
No, I don't think it was in the Superdome. I think it was in Philly. I think they were in the black uniforms. So yeah, it was in Philly. But Jalen Hurts still beat the Saints. Granted, it was with Taysom Hill at the helm, but still, didn't they go like 2-1 in those games? Like,
and then with the Saints too, like Kamara is that good, but there was a stretch of a few games where I was like, "What are you doing?" Like
he wasn't getting it,
and then he had that 6-game explosion.
Yeah,
and then he got the cocoa.
Yeah.
So like the last half of this season, he hasn't looked like
because Hill wasn't using them as much as Reed does. Because I come around my fantasy and I remember those 3 games. Where I was like, how does Kamara only have 10 points right now?
Yeah.
There's a standard PPR, not one of those crazy leagues that are very low scoring, like my friend Will is in. He was not scoring a lot and he wasn't getting the ball a lot. So I mean, if you do contain him, then yeah. But I do think the Saints do sneak it out. I think that'll be a good game.
Because, like, they also have a great defense.
Yeah,
too.
Malcolm Jenkins.
And
Malcolm Jenkins is back after a long tenure with the Eagles. And he's ignited them.
Yep. And the Seahawks, their defense has played better, but it's still bad. It's still so bad. So if it comes to a shootout, Saints are winning.
Yeah.
Because they can at least make us a stop.
You're not beating the Saints in a shootout. All right, so that leaves us with Saints at Packers for the NFC.
Oh, I want. It's hard to say like without like seeing how each team is looking as the playoff progresses, but as of now, I know it's Drew Brees' last ride. So like it'll be that whole thing like when Ray Lewis retired and we won. I'm still going to go with the Packers. As tough as I think that'll be a very close game. Like
if it
4
was
points
in
or less.
New Orleans, I'd be a little more iffy. It is in Green Bay. Drew Brees is not good outside. It's in Lambeau in January. Rodgers wants a Super Bowl as much as everyone because it's been 10 years since he won his last one.
Yep.
And he wants to prove to people, hey, I'm still a Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not just a good quarterback who loses in the playoffs every year. So I think he's motivated the way they've been playing. I mean, LaFleur is a sneaky good coach.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I would say probably like 55-45. The Packers, I'm not putting all my chips on the Packers, but it is. The way he's been playing and his connection with Adams.
I mean, Devontae Adams, if you told me he's the best receiver right now, I wouldn't fight you.
Yeah, how would you be like, well, I don't know.
Like, I would have a different opinion maybe, but I wouldn't be like, no, you're dead wrong. Like, there is a heavy conversation for him being a top receiver in this league.
Yeah. So they connect. So that leaves us with the Super Bowl. We only differed on one game, and that's the Steelers.
Yeah.
Steelers-Browns. You have the Browns, I have the Steelers.
And even then, I feel like I said it and I'm like still wrong. Also, we didn't mention this with Bills, but Josh Allen is like tough as shit.
Yeah.
Like he's like he takes hits and he gets right back up. He's so tough. Yeah. Just want to like I love Josh Allen. I'm like
so that leaves us with Packers Chiefs Super Bowl. Very old school matchup.
The first one.
Yep, very old school, very top. You have the Packers, who are, I feel like they're a little more grittier. I feel like the Chiefs are high flying. They both work. They're both dominant. I think Andy Reid outcoaches LaFleur in this situation. It's only LaFleur's second year, which is crazy to think about. Mm-hmm. His first Super Bowl, yes, he does have Rodgers, who's experienced in the playoffs. He does have Adams with that connection. You have Skelding, you have Tanyan, you have Jones on offense. You have not that bad of a defense. But I just think going to Super Bowl for a second year in a row, Andy Reid coming off that bye week, he is dominant coming off a bye week, both in the regular season and playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And you have Mahomes, you have a week of rest. I think they figure it out. And it might be close in the first half, and then Andy Reid just goes, you know what? I've been here before. This is my third Super Bowl. I've won one of them. I have arguably the best quarterback in the league. I mean, Aaron Rodgers was probably going to be MVP, but you have basically the top 2 MVP contenders this year. And I just think that high-flying offense, it's so hard to beat. I don't know how you need a defense to keep up with them. And who has a defense to keep up with them?
Nobody.
You don't really have high-flying defenses. You have tough defenses.
Punch you in the mouth.
Yeah. So, yeah, I do take Chiefs over the Packers in the Super Bowl in Tampa Bay. And it's going to be... I'm going to say they win by 7. They win by a touchdown. I don't think it's going to be that close. I think the Chiefs just run away with it. You give Patrick Mahomes the ball, they're going to score.
I am also going to go with the Chiefs. But I'm only going to do it by, I think it comes down to the last, drive or two.
Yeah. I'll be surprised if that happens.
If it comes to a shootout, Aaron Rodgers can sling the fucking ball.
Yeah.
They can air it out.
They can.
And so can Patrick Mahomes.
He threw more touchdowns than their punter had punts, which is a ridiculous stat.
Yep.
But I'm pretty sure Mahomes is the same way.
No.
See that stat on Mahomes?
They can both sling the ball. And And Rodgers, I say, has a bigger chip on his shoulder right now because he's like, I haven't been here in 10 years. I want to win this. I can still do it.
Yeah.
If he wasn't facing the Chiefs, I'd take them.
I would.
But it's just,
I know.
Again, until I see it happen,
I'm
not going to go against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah. So.
But I think they win 3-4 points, in a very, really heartbreaking fashion.
Yeah. I just feel like every time the Chiefs have the ball, you're like, they're going to score a touchdown.
Yeah. And when they punt, I'm like,
the
Raiders must have been
this year. That's who beat
backed up in penalties.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a weird game.
Yeah.
The Raiders were hot and cold for so long.
They started 5-0, 6-0, and then they finished 9-7.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was you look at that one game they lost and see what you did, but then the Raiders got blown out the second game they played.
Yeah, and you can't look at their second game that they lost because they were sitting their starters. So that doesn't matter.
So you can move it on. All right, so that is our playoff predictions. We only differed on one game.
I think it'll be really fun.
I think the AFC will have a lot more entertaining games than the NFC. I think the NFC probably has 2 blowouts this first weekend.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think Seattle and LA are that's going to be the only good NFC game. Mm-hmm. I think the other 2 are going to be blowouts.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we both have the Chiefs over the Packers, Super Bowl 45. All right. So now on to our next segment, our last segment. It is a new segment we are calling, Well, That Was Weird. And since you started with grievances, I would like to take the honors here.
Go right ahead.
I'm going to go back to the Eagles-Cowboys game, Sunday Night Football. Their first matchup of the week is the fourth quarter. Cowboys are down by 12, 4th and long situation.
Well, you know it's to the day.
Yeah. 4th and long situation. They are on the... I know it because it was such a weird sequence of events. Mm-hmm. And a slightly weird aftermath. Alright, so they're on their 5-yard line. They're punting out their own end zone. So I think, alright, they're going to concede the game. They're going to punt. If the Eagles get a field goal, you're still down by 15. It's still a 2-possession game. They launch it out of the end zone. So they take the safety. So now they're down 14. Right, they're down 14. Two touchdown games. So you went from 12 to 14. It's not bad. Then they set up for the punt. And this is a rule I did not know existed until this very moment. They do an onside punt. They kicked the ball as high as they possibly could. And it went 11 yards. So he booted it. It bounced because they had most of their guys up, but they had Greg Ward in the back. It bounced, and then they had somebody else catch it and fall on it. It was a little nerve-wracking for a few seconds, but Greg Ward didn't know what to do because he's like, I don't know what to do. I'm like 40 yards behind where the ball is. Do I run up and try to grab it? Do I let someone else grab it? Eagles recover, and they end up winning the game. Right? So it was a little weird play. The Cowboys didn't come back and win or anything, but it was a slightly weird play. And then on that Tuesday or Wednesday, the special team coach was interviewed. Right? A normal interview. He talks to the media once a week. And he explained that anybody on the field can call a fair catch. Which I didn't know.
I did not know until right this second.
Yeah. So even though Greg Ward, who was their punt returner, didn't call fair catch, Richard Rodgers, their third tight end behind Ertz and Goddard, he's a special teams guy, he called a fair catch. So even though the Eagles ended up recovering anyway, he said Rodgers called a fair catch, and anybody on the field can do that. So I just thought, well, that was weird. So, first of all, intentionally taking a safety, onside punt, and then not the receiver calling a fair catch.
That sounds like a Bill Belichick thing where, like, only he knows that one rule.
Yeah.
But
Or even like a John Harbaugh. Like, Harbaugh pulls those.
He's a special teams guy, so he would know.
He pulls those tricks, too. And Vrabel last year pulled that, like, false start against the Patriots, like, just running down the clock.
Dude.
But, yeah, so that was weird. And I know this was football-centric.
So, okay.
In other podcasts, it might not always be football. But that was the moment that inspired me to make this segment. Because it was so weird.
So, like, what happens if, like, two players, like, both call it?
Like, I mean, I guess you both call fair catch and nothing at it? Like, you
because I'm trying to think. If like... So, like, let's say, like, that happens, right?
Yeah.
But let's say, like, Ward doesn't see it. Somehow he gets the ball and runs with it. Then, like, that kind of fucks him up. He doesn't know.
So, I think it would be up to the refs. If you have a Hockey Lee or a Gene Steratore who, like, know their stuff. Mm-hmm. And they... Or Mike Pereira. I would be up to the refs to be like, that guy called a fair catch. We're going back to where the returner called it. And even if he returns it for a touchdown, it'll be that fair catch run after penalty. You know, you can't run after a fair catch. So I think it would be up to the refs to call that.
Yeah.
Whether or not these up-and-coming refs are going to call that, because we don't have a Hockey Lane anymore. We don't have Steratore anymore. Oh. I don't know if they do call that, but I think that would be the proper ruling. Is that if somebody else calls a fair catch, they call it dead where it's caught. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I'd just like to see that actually play out. We probably never will, but who knows?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm torn between 3 right now, just because like keep popping into my head.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm gonna just go with, the 2012 Super Bowl, the halftime blackout.
Oh yeah.
What? And I'm gonna put on my conspiracy hat on. In my humble opinion, I believe that it was the Harbaugh Bowl. It was a lopsided. We were kicking the shit out of them. We were hot in the streets.
People forget how good the Ravens were in that first half of the game.
We were blowing them out the water. And then they were slow down our momentum. The lights went out. They wanted a closer game. We definitely fucked up on our end too. But like, it came down to the final play. A very questionable play for most people. Like, was that pass interference? Was it not? That could change the whole game. I just think you have a multi-billion-dollar company, their biggest game.
And it was in the Superdome.
The Superdome.
Right. Which is
their biggest game.
Well-established.
So
stadium.
Nothing new. The biggest game of your season. For the first time ever.
Yeah.
You have a blackout?
Yeah.
That's weird. It's a little... And like they like hype it up as like, oh, like brother against brother, like
the hardball.
Jacoby Jones was coming home because he's from that area. It's Ray Lewis's last ride.
Yeah.
You have Kaepernick who came out of nowhere, saved his team.
Yeah.
Like you had so many different storylines, and it was a blowout, like a kind of a letdown. How do we fix this? It's just weird, is all I'm saying. That was
and it did happen at like, okay, you give it the first half. Playing devil's advocate, that it did happen, because it is a little weird that did happen. How do you not prepare your stadium for the Super Bowl? And I don't know what happened. I forget that game. It happened a while ago now. I forget what happened, but I do remember it happened like halfway through the third quarter. So I think they were like, let's give Jim a chance, a halftime adjustments, and let's see what happens. And then nothing happened, so they were like, okay, let's intervene here.
It was
Goodell played God.
What? Him playing God? No way. It's crazy. But yeah, that's my other word. The other one was...
Oh, go ahead and say yeah.
I mean, it's like small. I forget what happened. Sorry, which game, but like, it was like last week. Field goal doinked in and sent him out.
That was the Titans.
Yes! The Titans game. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm used to the double doink.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, it doinked in? Alright. It was weird, but like, cool. That was the other one.
I thought it was going to bounce out. I saw it going.
Yeah.
And the Titans needed to win that game, or else they lose the division to the Colts. And what they just threw it like 60 yards to AJ Brown.
Literally out of nowhere.
And then they kicked the field goal as time expired. Yeah. That was weird. I do. Since we're on the subject, double doink was crazy, but I do remember Chris Long coming out, and so everybody was tweeting all this, all that. He chose an account, and they're like, "Oh, he doinked it," and Chris Long came out and said it was blocked. And you look at the replay, and the defender's finger does flip, so you can't blame Parkey. It hit the.
But everybody still does.
Yeah, everybody does.
Poor Parkey.
Yeah,
He found a home now.
doink. Yeah, double doink. So, but yeah. All right. So that is
Sports Squad. We will have other main topics. Hopefully, we can get going this once a week. This should be released on Friday. Hope maybe Saturday morning, but this will be released before the games this weekend. So we have our playoff picks in. You can't blame us for changing anything. Chiefs over Packers.
Yeah, I feel like that prediction is like super basic and like out there right
But
now.
sometimes that's just
But
what
if
it
you like
is.
go game by game
Yeah.
like we did, it makes sense.
Yeah,
It's not like two like hot names. It's like if you look at it game by game,
Yeah.
stat by stat, like
yeah.
we're gonna be right.
Yeah. So that is Sports Squad. We're back. Give us a like, give us a share, subscribe if you haven't already. Comment stuff. We are at I don't know. I can't even remember. We're on YouTube, Sports Squad. We are on Twitter. I think still at Squadcast. SQWADCAST. Facebook, I think we're still Squadcast. I think. Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, give us all a like and share. Subscribe. And yeah.
Deuces.
Awkward endings, as always. Alright, see you guys later.
Bye.